Live from George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida, Nesson presents Grapefruit League Baseball. Today, the Red Sox travel north to take on the New York Yankees. Hello and welcome, everyone. Tom Caron in for Dave O'Brien. Today, Jerry Remy back for his 29th season in the booth. And we've got some regulars in the lineup here on the bus this morning. Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts will be starting in the outfield. Jerry, the more we watch Mookie Betts, the more we talk to people about Mookie Betts, the more we realize this young man is special.
Well, TC, you know, when you get the admiration of your peers, that's what's critical in this game of baseball. And we were here very early this morning, had a chance to talk to a lot of the Yankees, from anybody from their front office to the media that covers them, to their coaches, to their players, and they all feel that the Mookie Betts someday is going to be the MVP of the American League. Now, that's high praise for the kid that just came to the big leagues. And when you look at Mookie, you know, we've already seen him in spring training, hit a home run and a fastball inside. I don't think there's anybody better in the American League at hitting the pitch inside and hitting with power. He's going to have to learn how to adjust to outside pitches because he's going to see a lot of that. And then the move to right field. That's another thing that he's been able to do seamlessly. He's got great speed, great track of the baseball. And the only question about right field is arm strong enough to play there at Fenway Park? The key to that is make sure you just hit the cutoff man. But he is really something special, and we get a chance to watch him day in and day out.
He just turned 23 years old, already took the whole team out to dinner. That'll make you popular in the clubhouse.
Yeah, that, and he can bowl a little bit, too.
You want him on your charity bowling team, no question. Garen Austin will be with us in just a couple of moments. Stephen Wright on the mound for the Red Sox. The knuckleballer had 2 wins against the Yankees last season. Stay with us. First pitch from Steinbrenner Field coming up.
What is going on?
Today we're going to run a slalom course. Not down the mountain, but up it.
That's terrifying.
Grapefruit League action as the Red Sox and Yankees get ready for their first of 2 preseason meetings here at the home of the New York Yankees for spring training, Steinbrenner Field. Take a look at the Red Sox lineup today. Mookie Betts will be leading off, playing right field. Brock Holt be at second base. Travis Shaw at third base. Alan Craig on the first base side of the infield. Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field. Bryce Brenz is the designated hitter. Brennan Bosch in left. Devin Marrero, the shortstop, and Sandy Leone will be behind the plate. Catching the knuckleballer, Stephen Wright. New York Yankees with Tyler Cloyd on the mound. Hasn't pitched in the majors since 2013. Spent all of last season pitching in Korea, where he was a member of the Samsung Lions, trying to work his way back into a role here as a depth guy in the starting rotation, maybe a long guy out of the bullpen. It's his second appearance of the spring, his first start for the Yankees. Mookie Betts leading off for the Red Sox as Cloyd delivers his first pitch of the game and gets the corner for a called strike. Talk about Mookie Betts in the open, Jerry, and you know, when you watch Jacoby Ellsbury making his first start of the spring for the Yankees, You realize it's taken a couple years, but the Red Sox, and I think most Red Sox fans, feel they have the replacement for Ellsbury finally. Mookie Betts might be in right field, but he and Jackie Bradley Jr. have filled the void that Jacoby Ellsbury left behind.
Well, they do very similar things, TC. They both have great speed.
As Betts drives this one to left, and it'll go all the way back to the wall in left field. Betts legging it around second base, trying to stretch it to a triple, and he's in there with a leadoff triple. Mookie Betts showing power and speed. And the Red Sox with a man on third to begin the game against the Yankees.
I was watching the outfield for the Yankees, and they seemed a little bit shallow against Betts. So that ball right down the heart of the plate, and he's able to hook it hard over Ben Gamel out there in left field. And that ball travels a long distance now. Going for three with nobody out, you've got to be 100% sure that you can make it. And Betts really has no problem getting into third base. Even a good throw would not have got him. So a good start for the Red Sox, good start for Mookie Betts.
And a good opportunity for Brock Holt to drive in a run. Holt steps in and takes ball one. It's almost a lost art today, Jerry, where the guy leaves the box thinking triple. He knows he's got it over the head. He never slowed down. He was trying to leg that out right away.
You run hard as quickly as you can. If there's any kind of bobble, you can pick up an extra base. That is the way to run the bases.
Holt playing second base today. Of course, a guy who can play many positions, starting 7 different positions each of the last 2 seasons for the Boston Red Sox, and the lone member of the Red Sox to appear in the All-Star game last year. Ground ball right side, gets through for the base hit of the RBI as Betts will cross home, and the Red Sox, just like that, take a 1-0 lead.
Good job by Brock Holt, because you early in the ball game you've got the infield back, so basically all you've got to do is make contact and get the ball on the ground somewhere, and you got to get a run. Well, not only that, Brock Holt gets the bonus. He gets the ground ball. The run is going to score, as you can see with Mookie Betts, and then it gets by the second baseman Dustin Ackley, and it picks up the first run of the ball game for the Red Sox. So good job there by Betts and now Holt.
Triple by Betts, an RBI single by Holt, and the Red Sox are on the board here against the Yankees. And looking to add to that is Travis Shaw, who fouls off the first pitch from Cloyd.
Interesting, TC. Again, we have Travis Shaw getting a start at third base today. Second time he has done that. I was talking to him prior to the ball game. He said, well, it's not strange to me because I played a lot of it in Pawtucket last year and then moved to first base, basically when he got to the Red Sox. So he's had a couple of starts over there at third base, which to me is very interesting.
Well, when you talk about the corner infielders, right, Pablo Sandoval obviously is your third baseman. What will probably need time off from time to time, and the Hanley Ramirez experiment still going on at first base. So Shaw may get some opportunities even as a defensive replacement in some games late.
Well, I think, in my opinion, he is a lock to make this ball club because he can do so many things. He can play first base, he can play third base. He's a good hitter, a guy that can use the whole field, and he has power.
13 homers last year for the Red Sox in 65 games, making his major league debut for the Sox and surprising people with power. Shot to second base. They go 4 to 6 to 3 to get the double play. Ackley to Mateo over to Teixeira. So quickly 2 outs as Shaw hits into the double play.
Now let's look at the Yankee defense this afternoon. Chase Headley will be at third base. Jorge Mateo, the shortstop. Dustin Ackley at second. And Mark Teixeira, the first baseman, left to right. Ben Gamel, Jacoby Ellsbury, Carlos Beltran, and Brian McCann had a very good year last year for the Yankees doing the catching for Cloyd.
And for the Red Sox, Alan Craig now with 2 down, nobody on. And Craig, in many ways, the forgotten guy in this camp. It's amazing, a guy who was once in consideration for the National League MVP now has just really fallen off the radar for most people. And when you talk to him, he understands his place in this organization, what he needs to try to do to battle. All you can do, Jerry, is make the most of every opportunity you get.
Well, he's getting a lot of opportunities, especially early in this first week of spring training games. He's been in just about every single game. And, of course, what the Red Sox are doing, they're trying to shop him around, see if anybody has any interest in Craig. I don't see where he fits on the Red Sox roster. I really don't. But there could be a fit somewhere around baseball for Craig.
This guy is second only to the great Miguel Cabrera with a .351 batting average with runners in scoring position over the last 4 major league seasons. And yet the injuries that happened just before the season when he was traded to the Red Sox seems pretty clear, Jerry. He has never fully recovered. Maybe now. He says he's healthy. This is a healthy offseason. He's ready to go. So maybe now we'll start to see Alan Craig hit like he can. Just a little number back to Cloyd. He bobbles it, fields it, and gets it over to Teixeira for the final out of the inning. But the Red Sox get on the board. A leadoff triple for Mookie Betts. He's driven in by Brock Holt. And the Sox lead 1-0. I've been in television. Back here in Tampa with the Red Sox taking a 1-0 lead. Yankees coming up here at the bottom of the first. Jacoby Ellsbury will lead off, Jerry. His first spring training action. He asked for a couple of extra days off, said he wanted to get his legs in shape and completely ready. He's missed the end of each of his 2 spring trainings with the Yankees, and for Jacoby Ellsbury, as everyone in Boston knows, it's all about being able to stay on the field for a full season.
You're exactly right, and he and Brett Gardner, who is not in the lineup today because of an injury, they are absolutely critical at the top of this lineup for the New York Yankees. When you got guys hitting behind them like A-Rod and Teixeira, McCann, Headley, I mean, you've got to be on base, and they need a healthy Jacoby Ellsbury, a healthy Brett Gardner.
Stephen Wright gets a strike here to start his day. Stephen Wright making his second start of the spring. If you count the start against Boston College on Monday, and we do because it was on Nesson, so that makes it an official game. Even though it doesn't. I don't think it counts in the Grapefruit League standings, though, does it?
No, but we counted at Nesson.
It's like the Nesson Cup.
It is 2 of our 16 this spring.
Stephen Wright beat the Yankees twice last year as he gets the swing and miss here from Ellsbury. Beat him once as a starter, once as a reliever. And the win in relief was a memorable one, Jerry. That first week of the season came in the 15th inning on that Friday night at Yankee Stadium. Through 5 innings in what was the longest game by time in the history of the Red Sox. Gave up 2 runs over the 5 innings and got the win.
How could you forget that one, you know? I was talking to Jacoby before the ball game today, and he seems to me, remember when he was here, TC, he was very, very quiet, didn't say very much, and, kind of kept to himself, but it looks like he's grown up quite a bit.
Will flare to third base side where Travis Shaw will field it with ease. 1 up, 1 down for Stephen Wright so far. We take a look at the Yankee lineup today. You just saw Ellsbury lead off, Carlos Beltran in right. A-Rod is your designated hitter. Alex Rodriguez is back. Mark Teixeira at first. Brian McCann behind the plate. Chase Headley at third. Dustin Ackley is your second baseman. Ben Gamel in left, and Jorge Mateo, a bright prospect for the Yankees, is the shortstop. Yeah, you want to feel old? Jacoby Ellsbury is 32 years old. Kind of always think of him as the young phenom coming up through the Red Sox system. And here he is now at the age of 32. And You know, last year missed a lot of time in May with a sprained knee. Last March had an oblique that cut short his preseason. Joe Girardi thinks Ellsbury has kind of grown in his own knowledge, what he needs to do, and they expect him to be back this year. Carlos Beltran, meantime, had to deal with an oblique injury last year as well. That's really the story with the Yankees. It's a veteran lineup, a team that can hit if they've got their veterans healthy and in the lineup. Ground ball here to short. Holt will get it over to Craig. 2 up, 2 down so far for Stephen Wright.
Let's take a look at the Red Sox defense, and it's going to be Travis Shaw at third base, Devin Marrero, the shortstop, Brock Holt at second, Alan Craig, the first baseman, left to right, Brennan Bosch, Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts, and Sandy Leone gets the start behind the plate tonight, catching Stephen Wright. Or I should say this afternoon, not tonight. The sun has not set yet here in Tampa.
It's still early. We'll see how it goes as A-Rod steps in. Alex Rodriguez hit a home run in his first swing of spring on Tuesday afternoon. I think it was Wednesday afternoon, actually. A changeup from Adam Morgan. Second pitch he saw, he smoked for a 2-run home run. And Jerry, more than anything, I think that's the biggest change here in Yankees camp. A year ago, people were calling for the team to release A-Rod after he missed 18 months, the year-long suspension for PEDs. Now, after a 33-home run season, he's back as the DH, and nobody's talking about A-Rod.
And I think it's a comfort level for him knowing he doesn't have to play in the field anymore.
Ground ball up the middle of the base hit, so A-Rod gets one through, and the Yankees get their first hit of the day with 2 outs. Here in the first.
You know, on that note, Tom, you know, we listened before the game, and you listen to the players being announced and the kind of applause that they get. And quite frankly, A-Rod got the largest applause of anybody of the New York Yankees. So you're exactly right. I mean, he's turned the fans back in his favor, especially New York fans.
Hit 250 last season, Jerry, but just 191 over the last 2 months. And by his own admission, he said, I ran out of gas. And so, like we talk about Ellsbury, A-Rod really trying to get himself conditioned for the full season, but playing DH full-time should help that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, he's in great shape. And here you have Teixeira at the plate right now. Teixeira hitting from the right side against the knuckleballer Stephen Wright.
As we'll see guys do from time to time over the years. The guys did that against Tim Wakefield, and right-handed hitting Teixeira puts this one up in the left field. Bosch is under it, and Brennan Bosch will make the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. So A-Rod with a single, but the Yankees don't do anything with it, and the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead. Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Buy Ace Ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. Tom Karen, Jerry Remy, Garen Austin with you here. Thanks for spending a Saturday afternoon with us. John Farrell and the Red Sox traveling north today. The first of 2 meetings this spring against the New York Yankees. You know, for those of us of a certain age, Jerry, Saturdays were all about Tom and Jerry back in the day. So we're kind of, you know, bringing back. I don't know if I'm our comedy stylings are going to quite live up to that duo. But.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It could be a cartoon. We never know.
Got up early today. Nice drive. Thanks for driving.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. We got up here fairly quickly, just a little bit over 2 hours to get from Fort Myers here to the complex for the Yankees here in Tampa.
Karen Austin apparently taking the long way around, by the way. It took her a lot longer than that. She didn't take the bridge, came all the way around 75.
Oh, that's a rookie mistake, and she's not a rookie.
She's following GPS. Gave her bad instructions as Jackie Bradley Jr. steps in here to lead off the second for the Red Sox. JBJ now in center field. And you know, John Farrell, really from the start, said Jackie Bradley Jr., if he's in our lineup, he's got to be the center fielder. Raves about the defense, obviously. It's always just a matter of where Jackie Bradley Jr. can hit as he grounds to first base here. Teixeira plays it for the first out of the inning. But if JBJ can hit, you've got one of the best defensive outfields in baseball with Mookie Betts on one side and most likely Rusney Castillo on the other.
Well, I've mentioned this many times, TC, and, you know, I've seen a lot of center fielders come and go, and this guy, to me, is one of the best that I have ever seen. And you know, I think back to a guy like Fred Lynn, who was great in center field. But from what I've seen of Jackie Bradley Jr., I mean, and I'm talking about right field, left field, and center field, he can just do it all out there.
And by the way, we've got a new pitcher for the New York Yankees. This will be Shreve out on the mound. So just one inning for Cloyd. Chasen Shreve. 59 appearances last season, part of the setup crew that you don't hear a lot about when you talk about the Yankees bullpen, right? You talk about Andrew Miller last year as the closer and Betances setting up, and now you bring in Aroldis Chapman, but they also had a couple of guys who could settle things and get it to those late inning guys last year.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and those guys, a couple of them traded away. A guy like Warren was traded away. Two key bullpen arms, Justin Wilson and Adam Warren, gone. And Shreve, one of those guys that's supposed to step in this year and be able to pick it up for him until they get to those late guys who are just so impressive.
And he'll ring up the strikeout of Bryce Brenz here, so he gets Bradley and Brenz to start this second inning. Of course, the big story here in Yankees camp, Aroldis Chapman, the 30-game suspension as part of the baseball initiative, the domestic violence program, and no appeal. That was part of the agreement. He will not appeal, and I think the Yankees are happy that they now know how long he will miss. You know, he's going to miss a month, and that's going to hurt this team. But you know, you go through the appeal process, then you're kind of in limbo for a long time. I think the Yankees wanted to deal with this, get done, and move on without.
Yeah, get it done and get it out of the way as early as possible and get that combination of Betances, Chapman, Miller working together. And I'll tell you, those guys are really going to be tough when you get late in the ball game. So you don't want to fall behind the New York Yankees early. As a matter of fact, John Farrell was talking about that today. So it's kind of not only with the New York Yankees, but it's everywhere in baseball. All bullpens are much, much better than they were a number of years ago.
Shreve facing Brennan Bosch here. Bosch, the former Tiger, flies this one to left field. Under it there is Gamel, and he will make the catch. So 1-2-3 inning for Shreve. We head to the bottom of the second with the Sox up by a run.
Brenner Field, the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead over the Yankees at the bottom of the second. I'm Garen Austin. TC, Remy, John Farrell spoke to the media before the game today, and he said that there's really no update on Eduardo Rodriguez. He said that he'll continue to throw on a flat surface for about 90 feet, but they really can't amp things up until the swelling goes down in his knee. And Farrell said that there's no timetable for when he'll be able to get back on the mound. But, guys, there was some good news. Roenis Elias' ankle is progressing, and he's scheduled to throw a bullpen today, and they're hoping to get him in the game early in the week.
Karen, thank you. Yeah, Elias was actually scheduled to start this game, Jerry, but rolled his ankle there a little bit. They want to be careful, especially on the downward step of the mound. So Stephen Wright gets the call. He would have pitched in relief yesterday. They pushed Wright back a day. Talked to John Farrell before the game today about competition, right? You look at this team, by and large, you can figure out the roster. Most guys are returning, but he said, you see an Erod go down, you see an ankle turn for Elias, and all of a sudden there's all kinds of competition, and that's what spring training's all about.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. I don't know about you, TC, about the Erod thing, because not that I think it's a serious injury that's going to keep him out for a long period of time, but it is costing him valuable time in spring training. And, the more you go, the longer you go, the less of a chance there is for him to be ready for the start of the season. And, of course, we know how much the Red Sox rotation needs him. So we'll see how it develops over the next couple of days.
McCann sends this one to left field. Bosch will get under it, fighting off the sun a little bit. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning. Brian McCann retired here to begin the second inning of work for Stephen Wright. But I'm with you. I'm a little worried about the Eduardo Rodriguez thing because they downplayed it quickly. 3 days and he'll get going again. And again, today, John Farrell saying until the swelling's gone, he can't pitch off a mound. And it could be another day, it could be a few days. And you get to the point, Jerry, over the next week or so, now you've lost too much time. You won't be ready for the start of the season.
Exactly. You have to start almost from the beginning again, like throwing from the side off the mound and then getting into simulated game, getting into regular games where you start off pitching just a couple of innings. So this guy on the mound today, Stephen Wright, he could become a factor in the rotation early in the season if Rodriguez is not ready. And I'm not saying he's not going to be yet, but the more time that ticks off the clock, the less chance there is.
Chase Headley in with one out here and quickly falls behind 0-2. Yeah, you talk about the projected starters. Obviously, David Price is going to be at the top of the rotation. Buchholz, Erod, Porcello in some order, 3 and 4 there. And Joe Kelly has the inside track on that number 5 spot. But as Stephen Wright delivers a pitch here to Chase Headley, who fouls it off, you wonder where Wright fits in. He's out of options, so that makes the difficult decision here. If you're going to try to send him back to Pawtucket, he's going to have to clear through waivers, and someone will probably pick him up. He's proven he can pitch at the major league level. You think he makes it? Those 5 guys we just saw are there, Jerry. Does he make the team as a reliever?
I think he does. I think he's just too valuable to let loose from the organization. A guy that can start, can go in the bullpen, get right-handers out, get left-handers out with that knuckleball, which improves every single year for him. I don't see him not making this club, and I think I agree with you to see 100%. If he gets out there, somebody's going to take him.
And he gives you that insurance instead of having to call a Henry Owens up from Pawtucket. You've got a guy, especially at the beginning of the year when he's still stretched out. You got a guy who can jump in and make a spot start in the case of an injury. He was on a roll last year before he got hit by the batted ball, a freak accident during batting practice, right? He got the concussion. His last 4 starts, he was 2-1 with a 2.59. That included a 9 strikeout game against the Yankees. So he had really gotten into his best groove as a major leaguer, as he'll give up his first walk of the game here. Chase Headley takes the free pass. But you wonder how he would have been able to finish the season had he not been hit by the baseball.
I think he's a guy that the Red Sox really like, and they like a lot for a lot of different reasons, and some of those we've already highlighted. The fact that he can start, he can go to the bullpen, you can stretch him out very quickly if you have to get him back into the rotation. So there's a lot of value there.
And, then there's the part of the knuckleball that you live with, right? In this case, it gets away from Sandy Leon, and that'll be probably a pass ball as you will see the advance.
Yeah, that knuckleball right there really dipped at the end, and you can see Leon. He couldn't find it at first, but it didn't matter because Headley was going to get himself in a scoring position at second base. So a walk quickly turns into a double with the wild pitch.
And a runner in scoring position for Dustin Ackley, who was picked up the trade from San Diego back in the 2014 season before the deadline. Last year, Ackley playing 23 games with the Yankees after the acquisition. The trade was last year, July 30th. He'd only hit .215 with the Mariners, but really caught on with the Yankees, hitting .288 with 4 homers in just 23 games. Grounder to second here. Holt will get it over to Craig, so Ackley able to advance the runner, but 2 down now here in the second.
Ackley is a guy that, probably thought he was going to have a starting position at second base, but then the Yankees went out and got Stalin Castro from the Cubs. Of course, he's not in the lineup today, but he's going to be their second base, so they should be very good up the middle with Castro learning a new position, second base, which he will adjust to. And of course, their shortstop Gregorius, who was very good defensively last season.
Here's Ben Gamel with men on third and 2 outs and a strike to start his at-bat. Last year, spent the whole season in AAA, Scranton Wilkes-Barre, where he hit .300. He's acquired at the deadline a couple years ago as part of a deal San Diego, and again establishing himself as a solid minor league hitter. But again, much like we talked about with the Red Sox, Jerry, there's not a lot of spots up for grabs on this Yankees lineup.
No, the Yankees, they have an opportunity to be a very good ball club, and mainly if they can keep healthy, especially in the starting rotation.
Strike 3 called, so Wright gets out of it, strands the runner at third base. The walk, the pass, ball lead to nothing, and the Red Sox lead 1-0 as we head to the third.
You don't need a smartphone to figure
here at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. Red Sox leading 1-0 after 2 innings. And while Stephen Wright is the starter here in Tampa, a lot of people staying back in Fort Myers today to watch David Price.
David Price with a good outing in that simulated game. A couple of innings. You see it, 2 hits, 1 walk, and a couple of strikeouts. 38 pitches, which is a little bit more than I thought he would probably throw in that initial simulated game, but Red Sox not electing to bring him the pitch up here against the Yankees, leaving him back and pitching in that sim game back in Fort Myers.
Christian Vazquez caught him today. Leone and Ryan Hannigan, the catchers here in Tampa, as we'll see the 3rd Yankee pitcher in as many innings. Nick Rumbelow made his major league debut last year, got 17 relief appearances in with the Yankees, and he's part of the mix for the bullpen in the upcoming season. Again, especially with Chapman missing that first month, there's a spot or 2 up for grabs in that bullpen, Jared.
There are, and especially, leading up because of the trades they've made, leading up to the big 3 that are going to be finishing out games for them.
And that one's high as Devin Marrero now leading off the 3rd inning. Red Sox with that 1-0 lead. First inning leadoff triple for Mookie Betts. Brock Holt drove him in with a single. That's been all the scoring so far today as Marrero fouls that off.
Pretty good sinking fastball that Marrero topped that time to foul it off. Now with 2 strikes, the third baseman goes back. He was playing about even with the bag for the possible bunt from Marrero here leading off the 3rd inning. That didn't happen, so now he can move back.
Marrero once again ranked as one of the top prospects in the Red Sox organization. It was the 3rd straight year that Baseball America calls him the best defensive infielder in the system. And again, like when we talk about Jackie Bradley Jr., it's all a matter of can Marrero hit. And then where do you find him time to play, right? The infield pretty well set. As he skies this one, second base, Ackley under it, and he'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Red Sox season ticket holders experience the best seats, price, and benefits Fenway Park has to offer. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, please visit redsox.com/season tickets or call 877-RED-SOX-9 today. A month away from the start of the season, actually 1 day under a month, April 4th. In Cleveland, a week later, the 11th, Monday the 11th, baseball returns to Fenway Park in Boston. Sandy Leon, the catcher, with 1 out here in the 3rd inning. Leon back with the Red Sox after spending some time with the Red Sox. Played 41 games for them last year after Ryan Hannigan was injured. Remember, the Christian Vasquez injury happened right at the end of spring training. They announced he'd be getting Tommy John surgery, and we saw Blake Swihart involved, but he wasn't ready at the end of spring training, so they acquired Leon from Washington, and then after Hannigan got hurt during the season, he stayed with Swihart. He drives this one to right field. It is off the wall and right. Leon hustling around to second base, so Sandy Leon slides in with a double with 1 out here in the 3rd.
Well, the Red Sox so far in this game, a triple from Betts, a single from Holt, and now the double from Leon to get in the scoring position. I thought this ball had a chance to get out of the ballpark on a line, but it's going to hit the wall out there in right field, and Sandy Leon, who is known for his defense, shows a little bit of offense in this at bat.
And a little bit of speed. I don't know if he's known for his speed, Jerry, but legging out that double there for the extra base hit. Second extra base hit of the game for the Sox.
Now, very good hustle, and that's what you like to see. Thinking about 2 right out of the batter's box.
So Mookie Betts, who began the game with a triple to left field and scored the only run of the game, has a chance to drive in a run, but he gets out of the way of that one from Rumbelow. Red Sox 2-1 on the spring so far. 7-2 win yesterday against the Tampa Bay Rays. 7 different pitchers combining for just 1 earned run. Joe Kelly making his first start of the year. Looked good in 2 innings. As Betts takes a called strike there. Out ahead of that one as he fouls it over to the Red Sox dugout. You know, we mentioned in the open, Mookie Betts at the age of 23 having a team dinner, invited the whole team out. It's very unusual to see a young guy, even though he's an established major leaguer. And everyone you talked to after the dinner said it wasn't weird. It wasn't him putting himself out there. He just thought it was a good time to get everyone together. That kind of speaks volume about who this guy is.
Yeah, and, you know, he's not making the kind of money that some of these other guys are making. Why don't they invite people out to dinner?
They didn't let him pay. That was the good part of the story.
Oh.
Ground ball to third as across the diamond, Headley will get the throw. Leon has to stay at second base. That's when you've pulled it all off. So you get the credit for having the team dinner. But Dustin Pedroia, the veteran, stepped in and said, we're not letting the kid pay.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm inviting everybody in the Nesson crew tonight out to dinner. Okay, everybody is invited out to a sponsors dinner tonight, but I'm not going to pay.
There you go. So you get the credit now for inviting us to dinner.
That's a big league move right there, and that's a kid only in his 2nd year.
See, that's what, you know, you get a free dinner out of it. Everybody pats you on the back for getting the team together, talk about your leadership, and it didn't cost you a dime. So are you the team leader at tonight's big dinner?
You are. You're the main attraction. That's who people are coming to see tonight. But we will be stopping for a team dinner. Garen, TC, myself, on the way back from Tampa. A long day today.
Kind of a doubleheader for us. Well, baseball in the afternoon.
But how can you go wrong? I mean, you got a free steak coming up, after the game, so you can't beat that.
An afternoon with the Rem Dog and a dinner with the steak. When I got into this job, Jerry, I hope I'd have days like this someday. There's Brock Holt, 2 down now. Sandy Leone on second base. Betts couldn't advance him with the ground ball to third. Holt driving in the only run of the game as he slices this one.
You wonder there if Holt was trying to find that hole between third and short, because they are really sliding him over to pull on the infield. So there's a big hole between third base and shortstop. And that time it looked like Holt was taking a shot over there to try to drive in the run with 2 outs.
Yeah, Mateo almost over behind the bag, and you can see the gap. With a man on second, they have to leave Headley over near the bag at third. Called strike there. Interesting camp for Brock Holt, Jerry. You got a guy who's your only all-star from last year, but he's got no guaranteed place in the lineup. He's still got to fight to find a place to get those at-bats.
And a working camp for him, because he's going to play so many different positions this year that he's got to break in a lot of different gloves.
Fouls that one off to stay alive.
You think about the number of at-bats that John Farrell wants to get Holt. Well, that's going to be at a lot of different positions. He's going to get some time at second base, obviously. Maybe at shortstop, maybe at third base, certainly in the outfield. He's going to play everywhere, and he has to get those amount of at-bats. And the benefit of that is, you give guys some days off when they desperately need it. So he's such a valuable guy on this Red Sox club.
Rumbelow delivers, ground ball to the right side. Teixeira knocks it down. He'll flip it to Rumbelow in time to end the inning. So the Red Sox strand the runner. They take that 1-0 lead into the bottom of the third. Heading to the bottom of the third here at George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. Red Sox leading the Yankees 1-0 tonight. The Bruins are back in action. A big one as they host the Washington Capitals. We've got an hour of pregame coverage for you starting at 6, followed by the drop of the puck at 7. Coming off a big win Thursday night, Jerry, against the Chicago Blackhawks. If they could pull off a win tonight against the best team in the East, then you start to think about them a little more seriously come playoff time.
I agree with you.
Just got to skate.
I know that there was a game the other night. I didn't know whether they had won or lost.
They won.
I'm glad they won, and I wish them all the best in the game tonight. And I hope the pregame show is great. I hope the hockey game is great. And I hope they get a W so people can take them serious as they head into the playoffs.
I have no doubt all of that will happen tonight. Maybe after our steak, we can find a place to watch them, have a little nightcap, and catch the third period.
There will be a nightcap, yeah.
Tough to find hockey games on TV down here. I found that out over the years. Stephen Wright begins his third inning of work. For the number 9 hitter, Jorge Mateo, he's rated as the #1 prospect in the Yankees system by Baseball America. Out ahead of that one. Just 20 years old, Jerry. 82 stolen bases last year, the most at any level of professional baseball.
And the people tell me, the Yankee people say that, it's basically all on speed. He has yet to get to the point where he can read pitches rather. He's not great at that yet, but it's flat out speed. Now imagine when this kid is able to get to, more playing time, get to learn pitches a little bit and get to learn their moves.
Playing shortstop today, drives this one to left field. It is up and it is gone. A home run for Jorge Mateo, and the Yankees tie it up at 1.
Now that's pretty impressive right there. They say when it's high, let it fly, and take it when it's low. But this pitch that you're going to see in a few moments is going to be low from Stephen Wright. You see the bottom fall out of it right there, and he just kind of golfs it out of this ballpark. He hit that ball a long, long way. You're right, TC. The Yankees very, very high on this kid, and he's not even going to be the starting shortstop this year. It's going to be Gregorius.
Yeah, Mateo, Aaron Judge, a couple of their top prospects will probably start the year in AAA, but they'll be knocking on the door as this season goes along. Boy, you saw the exuberance after he crossed home plate, bouncing his way into the dugout. 20-year-old feeling pretty good after a 2-strike home run that he got all of here to tie the game at 1. So Ellsbury will get his second at-bat of the day. Soft liner to third base to lead off the game for the Yankees. Swing and a miss there for Ellsbury.
Now, I was wondering about Ellsbury, why he would want to start his season here today against a knuckleball pitcher. If you've waited, why not wait one more day and see a conventional type pitcher?
There's a ground ball to second base. Holt gets there for the first out of the inning. I'm wondering if he offered this game when he still thought Roenis Elias was coming to pitch.
I don't know.
May not have known that Stephen Wright was coming, because that was a change officially yesterday.
I know it's the last thing I would want to do on my first appearance of spring training is face a knuckleball pitcher. That could put me in a slump for a week.
Yeah, not the way you want to get your timing going early in camp, right? 0 for 2 against Wright so far today. Carlos Beltran grounded to second base in his first at-bat. Beltran hit .276 last season, missed time in July with an oblique injury. This will be his 18th major league season. And he'll get the base hit to right field. Second hit of the inning for the Yankees. And with 1 out, Beltran is aboard.
Now, Beltran keeps himself in very, very good shape. That's why he's still able to play at his age, and he's a guy that has been a clutch performer throughout his whole career. He's had some pretty good years here with the Yankees, part of a pretty good outfield for this ball club. And they said that he came to spring training in terrific shape, and he's done a very, very good job for him here in the early going.
That'll bring up A-Rod with 1 out and 1 on. And A-Rod ahead 1-0 quickly on the count. Now, Stephen Wright has worked so closely with Tim Wakefield now over the years. And what a great resource for a knuckleballer to have. Have a guy like Wake in the organization who's been there and done that as a knuckleballer. And just last week, Tim was down in Fort Myers working with him. And Stephen Wright says as much as a sounding board, because so often a knuckleballer has a strange relationship with coaching staff. These guys didn't throw a knuckleball. They don't really get it. Tim Wakefield gets it, and that's got to be huge for Wright.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Small fraternity of guys that throw the knuckleball, and when you can speak with one who has had the experience of a Tim Wakefield, I mean, that is a huge bonus for a guy like Stephen Wright.
Two and 1 pitch from Wright. Gets the called strike. And because of that, I think the Red Sox, Jerry, were even more patient with Wright. Knew that a guy can succeed with that pitch. Because, again, 200 career wins total for Wakefield, most of them with the Red Sox. So coming up through the system, I think they were encouraged by having a knuckleballer in the staff. They didn't shy away from it. A-Rod with a base hit up the middle here. So back-to-back hits now. Beltran and A-Rod with one out after the Mateo home run, tying it up to lead off the inning.
And the infield was playing deep for Alex Rodriguez in a double play situation because, of course, he doesn't run well anymore. But he gets the ground ball to Stephen Wright, but in a bad spot. Right back up the middle for the base hit. So the Yankees having a big inning. The home run, 2 singles, and only 1 out in the inning.
So right now we'll have to face Mark Teixeira with 2 on, 1 out. Teixeira had 31 home runs last year for the Yankees. You remember Greg Bird came in last year, and they were able to give Teixeira a little bit of rest early, and it wound up being a great season for Teixeira, but he broke his leg in August, and that ended the season. Now this year, Bird is out for the season. That word coming down just before camp, and they'll be leaning on Teixeira as he grounds it to third, and it'll hop past Shaw, and that'll bring in the run as coming around from second base is Beltran, and the Yankees take their first lead of the game.
Well, that should go as a base hit because there's absolutely nothing Travis Shaw could do about this. Watch the hop. Boom. He's in a good position to make the play on the ball, but it's just a bad hop that jumps up over his glove and into left field for the base hit. I would score that a base hit. We'll see what the official scorer has to say.
And if it is a hit, it'll be the 4th of the inning for the Yankees, 5th of the game, and yeah, they do score it a hit. So
Yeah,
that's 3 straight base hits for Stephen Wright.
You could tell that Shaw was in a good position there to, he was getting himself set up to go for the double play, and all of a sudden that last hop, which maybe had some hop, I should say, that had topspin on it, just jumped right up over the glove of Travis Shaw. So a little bad luck there for Stephen Wright. Could have been 2 to get out of the inning.
Instead, there are 2 on the board this inning and 2 on the bags. McCann stepping up with 1 out. Brian McCann flying out to left field to end the first inning in his first at-bat against Wright. Called strike 1.
This is where Wright really wants the ground ball to try to minimize the damage in a struggling inning for him. So hoping for a ground ball to one of his middle infielders to get a double play.
50 pitches for Wright as McCann will ground to Holt, only play to first. So he'll get it there for the second out of the inning. The runners advance, though, second and third now with 2 outs.
Yeah, he gets the ground ball, but it was not hit hard enough, and there was no other play for Brock Holt except the shuffle past the first base to get the 1 out. But with that out, 2 men move into scoring position.
So 2 down, 2 in scoring position. Chase Headley, who drew a walk last inning. First base runner of the game for the Yankees, got stranded at third in that second inning. Ground ball here. Holt will get it. Gets it over to first, and that'll end the threat. So Stephen Wright able to pitch out of it, but he gives up 2 runs on 4 hits, and the Red Sox trail 2-1 here in Tampa. Here in Tampa, the Yankees with a 2-1 lead after scoring 2 there in the third. Introducing Nesson Fuel, a car enthusiast's new home for everything automotive, including exclusive driver interviews, race recaps, and a whole lot more. Visit NessonFuel.com and follow Nesson Fuel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram today. When we were driving in today, we saw quite a car being taken off a lift out front. That a Lamborghini? Is that what I was told it was?
I don't know what it was, but it certainly wasn't like Yogi Berra's car or anybody that played in that era.
No,
you know,
I think that's fair.
It was a current day player's car that was looked like it was being shipped someplace, but
the doors went up like the Back to the Future car. If you remember the Michael J. Fox DeLorean, it looked like one of those. It was gathering a crowd. People were standing around taking pictures.
We rolled in our rental car and
and nobody was gathering around the Remmobile, I noticed.
No.
Nobody was. Look at that. Fourth inning, fourth pitcher for the Yankees is Tyler Olson. As the lefty comes in now, Olson, 26 years old. Facing Travis Shaw, who grounded out a double play, 4-6-3, back in the first inning. Olson for the Yankees was acquired from the Dodgers in January. Trade of minor leaguers off the end of the bat for Shaw. And Headley will get it across diamond. Teixeira holds on, first out of the inning.
Yeah, Headley's looking to have a better year down at third base than he did a year ago. It was 23 errors he made at third base last year. Now, this guy was a very good defender in the National League, but was not a good defender last year with the Yankees. He had kind of a down season offensively and defensively, so he's looking to bounce back in 2016.
Yankees last season won 87 games, 23rd straight winning season. Second longest streak in Major League history, and the only longer streak was the Yankees back in 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, at 39 consecutive winning seasons all the way up to 1964. With a top wild card, you remember they hosted Houston in that wild card playoff game and lost to Dallas Keuchel 3-0. Wouldn't you know it, they open up against Houston, they'll probably see Dallas Keuchel on opening day.
Yeah, it's a tough team to figure, isn't it? When you look at all the teams in the American League East, it's hard to really judge the Yankees. I mean, there's no question about their talent, but the question is, can they stay healthy? Can they keep their pitchers healthy? Can they keep their elder players healthy throughout the course of the season? We don't know that yet.
Craig grounds to short here. Mateo up with it, quickly 2 down for Tyler Olson. Well, Jerry, there's no doubt when you talk about this Yankee team, it's all about that bullpen that we mentioned earlier, right? When Chapman is back from the suspension, you're going to have Chapman, Miller, Betances, 3 guys with swing and miss stuff. In fact, I did the math, so we don't have to. 347 strikeouts in 212 innings last year.
And that's exactly what you want at the end of the game. You want no contact guys because, you know, it's pretty obvious. I mean, the less contact there is, the less chance you have of giving up runs. And you talk about non-contact guys. There's 3 of them. But Betances is terrific. And you know, he's been used heavy over the last couple of years. I wonder if that's going to have any effect on him at all.
Bradley slices this one to left. Gamel under it, and he makes the catch. So a quick 1-2-3 inning for Olson. And we head to the bottom of the 4th with the Red Sox trailing 2-1. Off the bat in the bottom of the fourth here against the Red Sox. Today's Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS to treat someone special to a game right now. That'll do it for Stephen Wright. Done after 3 innings. The lefty, Tommy Lane, will come in, making his second appearance of the spring. The guy who probably has the inside track, along with Robbie Ross, as the left-handed relief portion of that bullpen, Jerry.
I would think so. You know, Lane more of a specialist, getting lefties out, and Ross is the type of guy that you can use against both left-handers and right-handers. So, yes, I would say at this time Tommy Lane certainly has an inside track of being in the Red Sox bullpen. His second appearance, as you mentioned, he worked an inning against Minnesota. Gave up a run in that inning with a couple of hits, and that's been his only appearance so far this spring. That was back on the 2nd of March.
And as you said, Jerry, lefties had a 170 slugging percentage against them last year. That was the second best in any major league pitching line this year. 418 OPS from left-handed hitters. So, you know, a lot of teams have gotten away from that lefty-on-lefty specialist, but when you face a team, especially think of the Yankees, you think of some of these lineups in the American League East, nice to have that guy that you can break the glass in case of emergency, bring him in with a couple on to get you out of the inning.
Right, you know, and one of the reasons they've kind of got away from the specialist type of guy is because, you know, you're taking up a spot on the roster maybe to get one guy out per game, and if you have a right-hander or a left-hander that can get both right-handers and left-handers out, then, you know, you're obviously going to lean in that direction. But, you know, Tommy Lane's a great example of a guy that you can bring in just for a tough out against a left-handed hitter.
Facing the lefty, Dustin Ackley, to begin the 4th inning here, and he falls behind 3-1. Last year was the first time Tommy Lane made the opening day roster with the big league club. Fly ball, center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. is there, and he will make the catch for the first out of the inning. Calling all young Bruins fans, an all-new TV show created just for kids who love the game of hockey. We call it Bruins Academy. You'll get access to special appearances from Bruins players, coaches, management, medical staff, and more. Catch an episode of Bruins Academy tonight at 5:30 before our Bruins pregame coverage. Here's Ben Gamel with 1 down in the 4th inning. Struck out looking back in the 2nd inning, the only strikeout victim of Stephen Wright today. We'll get a good swing on that one and a base hit to right field. So the lefty hitting Gamel with the base hit off Tommy Lane, and with 1 out, Jorge Mateo will come up with a man on first. Mateo hit the home run back in the 3rd inning to lead off the inning and get that offense going for the Yankees. A 2-strike home run that he absolutely crushed about halfway up that scoreboard over in left field.
Woodball looked at the home run, and you can see that ball was dipping down and into his power, about knee-high on the inside part of the plate, and he hit that ball a long way to left field.
Mateo gets a new bat. That one broke. First righty to face Tommy Lane. Lane gets the strike call there, so 0-2 quickly for Tommy Lane. Always interesting to see how the managers will try to create scenarios for relief pitchers, because it's so hard to do in spring training, right? Craig Kimbrell comes in yesterday, and you want to get him in the game early because that's when the best hitters are in there rather than late in the game, which you will normally do. In this case, you got a couple of lefties with Ackley and Gamel, so you try to get Tommy Lane in now, even though he'll probably never see a fourth inning as this season goes on.
Right, and time in the big leagues, too. You know, time with the team makes a difference, too, when you get your slot early in a ball game. But I like the idea of closers coming in early in games because they're seeing a formidable lineup at that time.
Mateo with the ground to short. Holt gets up, gets it over to Marrero, across to first for the 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. Solane works around the base hit from Gamel and retires the inning with the minimum number of batters faced. And we head to the fifth, a 2-1 game for the Yankees. Two-one Yankees here as we head to the fifth inning. You just saw an inning-ending double play. There is Mateo grounded out 4-6-3. And Gamel going into second base had to be careful because they're being very careful this year, Jerry. You can't take the runner out or the shortstop out if you're not going to the bag.
Now, basically what they're doing is they're enforcing some of the rules that were already in place. A bona fide slide occurs when the runner one begins to slide before reaching the bag. In other words, you can't roll once you get to the bag into the base runner. He's able to attempt to reach the base with his hand and foot. That's always been a rule. But then you got to keep contact with the bag. He's able to attempt to remain on the base after the completion of a slide. That's what I was talking about, keeping contact with the bag after you make that initial slide and try to take out the second baseman. So with all these rules put in place, I would be much more comfortable as a second baseman and shortstop trying to turn a double play.
Bryce Brent's leading off the fifth inning here. He'll face the fifth pitcher of the game, Johnny Barbato. Barbato, just 23 years old, acquired for Sean Kelly from San Diego. So you talk about some of the moves they've made, and we talk a lot about the big moves, right? Castro, Aaron Hicks they got as an outfielder, and of course Aroldis Chapman, but making some moves to get some younger players too, augment some of that farm system that they had depleted over the years, right? Brian Cashman has made it pretty clear here in New York that they traded away a lot of their prospects over the years to get top players. It's time to rebuild that farm system.
The whole philosophy for the Yankees has changed. I mean, they're not spending the big money on free agents. They're trying to build a club through trades and through young players. And that is a different philosophy, of course, from a lot of their real successful years when they were winning world championships and very active in the free agent market. But it's a different approach right now. And it's an approach when you see guys like that are playing today, like Mateo, and there's a couple of others that we'll see before the game's over. It's starting to pay dividends for the Yankees.
Brents will foul that one back. The Yankees did not sign a single major league free agent this offseason, Jerry. I can't remember the last time that's happened.
It's really amazing, because when you think about free agents, and especially a guy like David Price, you say, well, right away, the Yankees are going to be involved somehow. And it used to seem like they always came out on top. They'd wait till the last minute, swoop in, and get the free agent.
Swing and a miss there, and so the strikeout on the 3-2 pitch. Brents goes down swinging for the second time today. Barbato begins his day with a strikeout here at Steinbrenner Field. Yankees and Red Sox going at it this afternoon here. And don't forget, Charlie Moore Outdoors comes your way tomorrow. An all-new edition. The Mad Fisherman spending some time with 10-time billiard world champion Mike Seigel. They spend time small pond fishing in Florida. They critique some of the local restaurants. All in Charlie Moore Outdoors tomorrow at 12:30 on Nesson. Fly ball here. It is up, and it is caught there in left field. Trying to look at Charlie Moore and up to the outfielder at the same time. Not easy to do. Thank you.
One of the rules is, you try to get a promo out of the way before the play starts, because once the play starts, then
tough to catch.
You get problems. Yeah.
I was lost. I'll admit it. Left it hanging there, but the catch made in left field by Gamel. Luckily for the Yankees, he kept his eye on the ball better than I did. That'll bring up Devin Marrero here. So 2 quick outs, but a long fly ball there for Bosch. 2 down now in the 5th inning. Just looking forward to that Charlie Moore edition tomorrow. Critiquing local restaurants. Hopefully not critiquing my call on that play.
And we didn't miss anything. I mean, it was a routine fly ball out to left field. I mean, it wasn't even close to being a home run, so I no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. All right, thank you. I'll take that. Very kind to the rookie here today, Jerry. I appreciate that. Marrero popped out to second base in his first at-bat. Barbado is a guy that they bring in, and again, depth. Last year, once they traded for him, he pitched in Trenton and then Scranton Wilkes-Barre. 14 appearances in AAA, a 0.36 earned run average in 25 innings. So often you'll gauge these young pitchers, Jerry, as they move up a level, and sometimes you almost have to give them a little time to get back to where they were facing the better hitters. He lowered his ERA by nearly 4 runs in that move from AA to AAA. Gets the called strike. Count is full now.
Now, we talk about it all the time, but, appearances for people like this are very, very important, because even if you do not break with the major league team, the impression you make in spring training, when they think about making replacements, of course, they get the advice from their minor league people, but they also remember what they did for them in spring training.
Strikes out Marrero here, so a 1-2-3 5th inning for Johnny Barbado, and the Yankees lead the Red Sox 2-1. All right, it's a 2-1 Yankee lead here as we come to the bottom of the 5th with the Yankees coming up to bat. New England's premier hair loss doctor is Dr. Robert Leonard. Do what Wes Welker, Lyndon Byers, and I did. We all restored our hair with Dr. Robert Leonard. You'll feel younger, look younger, and you'll get your hair back, Jerry. 1-800-GET-HAIR. for a free consultation.
Now, do you feel all those things?
Well, you know what I feel, and this is the truth. I was out there with you on the field before. I used to worry about getting my scalp sunburned when I came down to spring training. I'm not that worried anymore. I got a little coverage up there, you know?
So Dr. Leonard could help me then. There's no question about that. But I think I'm a little bit too old for that.
You're never too old, Jerry.
I don't know. If I came back with a full head of hair, people would say, well, what are you doing?
You think we might give you a hard time?
Yeah.
A little bit of a hard time?
But your hair is flowing, TC. It looks great.
I'm feeling good about the flow. Speaking of flow, Robbie Ross. He and Henry Owens are the two guys who are not going with the shorter corporate look, and the swing from Jacoby Ellsbury puts a drive into it, and that'll be a base hit. It'll roll to the wall. So first pitch swinging Ellsbury, legging it around third base, heading in, standing up with a leadoff triple here in the fifth.
Now what happens to Ellsbury? He gets rid of the knuckleball pitcher. He gets a chance to face a conventional pitcher, even though it's a left-handed Robbie Ross, and he gets that fastball inside. They wanted to go away from Ellsbury, but the ball stays in, and Jacoby puts a pretty good charge in it out past Jackie Bradley Jr. out there in center field, runs it all the way to the wall. And when you do that in the Jacoby Ellsbury, that's a very easy triple.
Well, when you think about Robbie Ross, you know, he spent a long time starting games in the Texas organization. Last year, exclusively being used as a reliever, 54 appearances, and was closing down the stretch, right? When Koji got hurt, they had different guys basically audition, and it sort of became Ross's job. And I think he found something, feeding off that adrenaline, feeding off the late inning situation. He says he thinks he can use that, even if he's not closing now. He understands that that little extra adrenaline, amping yourself up as a little more of a power pitcher, works pretty well for him.
Yeah, and the advantage, too, of Ross is, you know, we were talking a little bit earlier, Tommy Lane being a specialist against lefties. Ross, they feel like, is just as effective against right-handed hitters as he is against left-handed hitters. So a valuable guy out of the bullpen again for the Red Sox. And as you said, TC, a lot of different roles.
He's ahead of Beltran, 1-2 here. Ground ball to short. Run will score as Marrero goes over to first to get the out. So an RBI ground out for Beltran and a 3-1 lead here for the Yankees in the fifth.
Now that's good situational hitting. I mean, the Red Sox are giving up a run. They have the infield back. They're down by a run mid-game. And all Beltran's got to do is make contact. The only place you don't score if you're at third base is a ground ball back to the pitcher or maybe one to third base. Anywhere else, if there's contact made on the ground, you're going to score the run. So good situational hitting there by Carlos Beltran, picks up the RBI.
And that'll bring up A-Rod for the third time today. Alex Rodriguez, 2 for 2 off Stephen Wright. A single in the first and third innings. Now facing the lefty Ross.
And for the Red Sox, the first time today, able to put the shift on Alex Rodriguez as they have three infielders on the left side of the infield. Brock Holt sliding over.
Jerry, Red Sox do a lot of shifting now, obviously. When we talk about Hanley Ramirez trying to adapt to first base, how tough does that part of it become? You know, it's no longer a position where you're 3 steps off the bag all the time. You got to get a full sprint sometimes to get over to first base.
That's an excellent point, TC, and you can see right now clearly where Alan Craig is playing, and that's a long way from the bag. So anything that's hit to that left side, you got to really, you know, turn your back to the play, rush over there, get in a position to make the catch, and pick up the baseball. So a lot to it.
You talk to first baseman. Sometimes when you're in that deep a shift for a right-handed hitter, the throw is on the way by the time you plant your foot and look up.
It's almost like a wide receiver, you know, where they know where the route's supposed to go, and the ball quarterback lets loose the baseball, and you got to try to pick it up.
A-Rod draws the walk, gets on base for the third time today. They appeal, but it's called ball 4, and that'll end it for A-Rod as he will come off for the pinch runner. He ends his day with 3 at-bats, 2 hits and a walk, so a good afternoon for Alex Rodriguez. Mark Teixeira stepping in against Robbie Ross Jr. Teixeira 1 for 2. Santiago Nessie is your base runner, Jerry. Beltran grounds to short, flip from Marrero. Holt over to Craig, so a 6-4-3 double play will end the inning. But the Yankees get a run. The leadoff triple for Ellsbury, driven in by Beltran, and it's a 2-run deficit for the Sox heading into the 6th.
TC, Remy, you guys were talking about how there had been some changes to the Red Sox in the offseason, but there's only one new face on the coaching staff. Former Phillies GM Ruben Amaro Jr. joined the Red Sox as the new first base coach. I talked to him yesterday, and he said it's a lot of fun to be back on the field, but it's definitely been an adjustment as he's been learning his position and what's expected of him. He said camp has been great because he's been getting to know the team and the coaching staff, and he's really looking forward to helping the team win. Guys?
Garrett, thanks. Yeah, Jerry, strange career route. Guy who was a GM now taking a position on the field, but he thinks he could eventually be a manager, and he wanted to get back in uniform, back on the field. And what a wealth of experience a guy like that brings.
Yeah, it really does. And, you know, the kind of route of to get back to managing is go from a first base coach to a third base coach to a bench coach and then become a manager. So there may be some time before Amaro gets that opportunity. But interesting, you know, going from a GM back to on the field, a guy that probably did miss very much being on the field and an awful lot of pressure being a general manager.
Sandy Leon leading off the inning with a ground ball to short. That'll be a quick out. One pitch, one out here for our new pitcher, Richard Blyer. Richard Blyer, the left-handed pitcher, is the sixth pitcher in as many innings for the New York Yankees, and he's a guy, as advertised, pitches to contact. One pitch, ground ball out. At a 2.57 ERA combined last year between AA Harrisburg and AAA Syracuse. His fourth major league organization with Texas, Toronto, Washington, and now the Yankees. Non-roster invitee. Was a reliever coming up through the minors and then got his first start with Syracuse, went 6 innings and gave up just 3 hits. And all of a sudden they liked what they saw in him as a starter, retooled him as a starter the rest of the way. Mookie Betts be facing him here, his third at-bat of the day. Led the game off with a triple, rounded to third, scored after that triple. Brock Holt brought him in. First 2 batters of the game for the Red Sox got hits. A triple for Betts, a single for Holt. They've had just 1 hit, the Sandy Leon double in the third since. Betts goes after that one, swing and miss. Will be thrown out as that'll be the second out of the inning, and it's 2 up, 2 down so far with Brock Holt coming up now.
You know, it's interesting, TC, how time heals wounds, you know. And I remember back in the day when we were playing the Yankees in the late 70s, and, you know, nobody talked to each other. I mean, you just did not talk to the Yankees. They did not talk to us. And I had the opportunity today around the Yankee batting cage to talk with Willie Randolph, who, of course, played second base on those great Yankee clubs. Great Yankee. And, you know, our conversations during games would be, you know, and that's about it. I had a nice chat with him today. Very nice guy. And how time changes, you know. I mean, it's amazing. It seems like all the players today know each other very, very well. Yeah, but in that span, there was no talking to the New York Yankees. You just didn't really know them at all.
You know, we do the pregame show, and it's at least once a series that we have that shot of David Ortiz talking to four guys from the other team before the game, right? They're all laughing, patting on the back. Yeah. I always think, I can't see Yaz doing that, you know, in a series at New York on Friday night.
Fisk and Munson shaking hands.
Catching up on their golf game.
No, I just don't get, you know, I don't see that.
And what was Chili Davis saying before the game? Goose Gossage was here. He says he still looks intimidating.
Yeah, another guy that I chatted with, Goose Gossage, and he's doing great. And of course, he pitched in that 78 playoff game. I think 3 innings in that game to close it out for the Yankees.
Game you should have been the hero of in that 1978 extra game, right?
I'm just glad it didn't ground ball double play to end the game. That's all I'm happy about. And yeah, it's funny, you know, I hit that ball and I knew it was going to drop in. I could tell right from contact, but I didn't know Piniella had lost it in the sun, and he just sticks his glove out, and there it is. The ball gets by him. Probably going to tie game.
Holt, ground ball to right. That's Chris Parmalee, the new first baseman. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Blyer. So heading to the bottom of the 6th. Yankees holding on to the 3-1 lead here in Tampa.
You don't
Back here in Tampa, Tom Caron, Jerry Remy, Karen Austin with you. Yankees leading 3-1. Got a new pitcher, 4th pitcher of the day for the Red Sox. Williams Jerez in his 3rd season as a pitcher for the Red Sox. Originally an outfielder that they have converted strictly to pitching now. You see what he did last year in the minors, a 2.54 ERA. Originally, when he was drafted, they thought of him as sort of a Carlos Beltran type player. They saw him as a big hitting outfielder, and the hitting just never came around, but the arm was always there. 5 outfield assists in 90 games in his last year playing a positional, play, and they came to him. He thought he was getting cut. Got called to the manager's office, and he thought it was the end, and they said, no, we're going to try as a pitcher. He said, okay, whatever you need. And they love his arm. They think he's got good stuff, Jerry. It'll be interesting to see how he does. Again, another lefty. We talk about the left-handed spots in the bullpen. Probably will begin the year in the minors, but he's going to be a guy they're going to keep an eye on as a left-handed reliever.
Yeah, last year
Big news from Beverly Hills. Celebrity plastic surgeon Dr. Andrew Orden has discovered an anti-aging breakthrough called Fill and Freeze. And he's giving away 1 million bottles.
Oh, I'm young again. I don't feel like an old lady. Lines are gone.
Until the last year or so, when they had me primarily at first, I always thought of myself as a third baseman.
I was watching him in a workout yesterday over at Fort Myers prior to the ball game, and I watched him play third base, and he looked fairly comfortable down there. It looked like he needed a little bit of work with his footwork, as he was throwing toward first base. But I mean, his hands were very, very good. So that's why I asked him today. I said, how much experience have you had down at third base? And I was told earlier at the college level there was some, and then he said, of course, last year at AAA. And then when he called up to the Red Sox, he basically was moved to first base. But so there is a comfort level for him down at that position right now.
So much talk about Hanley Ramirez making the move to first base. I know you haven't had a chance to see him extended stretches yet, but what's your early take on that?
It's a work in progress. There is no question about that. I mean, I think the move for Hanley is going to be easier going to first base than certainly it was to the outfield. It's not easy to go from the infield to the outfield, but being a shortstop from the most of his career, I think the move to first base should work out for him, but it's going to take a lot of hard work, and that's going to be up to Hanley about putting that hard work in to get the job done over there.
Got a great resource in Brian Butterfield, who's a great coach with the infielders. But again, as you said, Hanley Ramirez has to be the one putting in the time. He's got to go in early and get on the back field and take those balls.
And he has been doing that, TC. I got there very early a couple of days ago, and he and Butterfield were already out on the backfield where nobody could see him. Nobody knew he was out there, but they were working very hard. So I will give him, the credit that is due right now, that the fact that he is putting the time in. And I also talked to Hanley about it, and he feels pretty comfortable about the move. He said, if I could play shortstop, I could play first base. Well, I said, Hanley, it's not that easy. There's a lot of things you've got to learn over at first base. Footwork, cutoffs, relays, bunt plays, different things like that. He said, yeah, I know, he said, but I can learn that. So, his frame of mind is good going into it. Now we'll have to see how that develops over time.
Hanley Ramirez, of course, not making the trip today. It was Alan Craig starting over at first base. Swing and a miss there, so the strikeout for Jerez as he gets Headley for the second out of the inning.
There's Hanley working the backfields with the Red Sox. and out there with Brian Butterfield and, working everything. He told me, it was interesting. I said, what has been the most difficult part for you so far? And he says, strangely enough, throws to his left. He says balls that kind of tail on him a little bit, he says, have given him the most problems. And I found that's very strange. But when you think about it, it's almost like a two-seam fastball coming your way, and you got to adjust that glove, obviously, to be able to make a catch on it. But he says at this point, as far as throws from the infield, the ball to his left is the one that's given him the most problems and the one he's working on the hardest.
I know first baseman, especially right-handed first baseman, will tell you that move to the left is tough because the runner's coming up the line.
Right.
So as you're opening your vision to that runner, there's a lot going on all of a sudden.
Plus, he hurt his shoulder last year. You might remember that, too. And then that's also a factor.
I'll tell you, watching him in the early days of camp a couple of weeks ago, the single biggest thing that'll help Hanley Ramirez is that Dustin Pedroia is about 20 feet away on him the whole time.
Yeah, he is. He is. And for me, the biggest thing is getting off to a good start. And I mean right here in spring training and during the start of the season, so he can gain confidence.
Ackley with the ground ball. Holt gets after it. So a 1-2-3 inning for Jerez. And it's a 3-1 game heading to the 7th. There's no experience quite like watching a Red Sox game in a private suite at Fenway Park. Email premiumsales@redsox.com or call 617-226-6912 to book your private suite today. New pitcher for the Yankees once again. As coming into the game now is Kyle Haynes. What they used to call it, Johnny Allstaff pitching today. You've got just about everybody coming through. 1 inning per. And it'll be the 7th pitcher of the game for the Yankees, and they've done the job since that first inning run of Tyler Cloyd. You've had 5 scoreless outings so far today. Travis Shaw leading off the inning for the Red Sox. Shaw grounding into a double play in the first inning, rounding out the third in the third inning, fouling this one off.
It's funny how things change. You know, we're driving up this morning speaking about what we're going to do in our open today, and when Travis Shaw was going to be our open, then we found out that Mookie Betts had made the trip, and all of a sudden that changes. You know, so it's not locked in cement what we're going to talk about.
I just wonder as Shaw grounds out the second base here, if, Travis Shaw realizes how close he was to being our open today. That all of New England would have been talking about Travis Shaw. Instead, last minute, it becomes a Mookie Betts story.
Well, it gives him motivation that, okay, if I can't cut it on Nesson today, maybe tomorrow. You never know what tomorrow may bring.
It's important here at spring training, too, I think, to make sure that you're laying down that motivation for some of these guys. Can't have complacency in camp, Jerry.
No, especially after a couple of last place finishes, and that man knows it well. And TC, we talk about pressure, and there's a lot of pressure on John Farrell, obviously, as we head to the beginning of the season to win a lot of games very, very quickly.
How important is April?
It's very important. We've seen this team buried the last couple of years early in the season. And there's no interest. There has been no interest in it, from that point on. And it's critical that they get off to a strong start. And Farrell knows that for himself. He knows Torey Lovullo is sitting right there, and they've paid him very well to be a bench coach and is in waiting and just in case things don't break well. So, we're not speaking out of school, saying that there's a lot of pressure on John Farrell to get off to a good start with this ball club.
Compounding matters. 5 of the first 8 series in April, 5 of the 8 series in April are against American League East teams. So if you get off to a bad start, not only is your record not good, but you are falling behind the teams you need to keep pace. And that's what happened last season. They just couldn't beat the teams in the American League East. Anytime they started to make any sort of move, it was out of the division.
Right.
You'd get back to the teeth of the AL East schedule and you'd fall back. Red Sox will open up in Cleveland, and we know what that pitching staff is all about. Then it's north of the border to Toronto, home for the first homestand of the year. Baltimore, Toronto, Tampa Bay, so an all-AL East homestand. Houston wraps up the first 3 weeks, and the Astros have become a tough team to face. Craig fouling off a couple to stay alive. We saw that shot of John Farrell and Torey Lovullo. Were you surprised that Torey Lovullo didn't explore managing options, didn't look to find something out there?
Well, it was the perfect opportunity for him to do so, because he was coming off some very good success late in the season with the Red Sox, kind of changed the attitude of the whole ball club. And it looked like it was probably his time, but the Red Sox made him an offer that was tough to turn down. And he is very, very close to John Farrell. There's no question about that. They're very close, and he felt an obligation to come back and be his first lieutenant in that dugout. He got obviously a raise in pay, which he's being paid more like a manager would be, and he's kind of like a manager in waiting right now. So I give him credit for what he did, for sticking around here. He likes the organization, he liked the players, he liked the way they finished the season, he likes Farrell, and he obviously likes his raise in pay.
Don't we all? Ground ball third base. Bradley crowding out to Parmalee, a 1-2-3 inning for Hines, and heading to the bottom of the 7th. The Yankees holding on to that 2-run lead.
Steinbrenner Field, bottom of the 7th, Yankees with a 3-1 lead. You know, TC, Jerry, you guys were talking about a lot of pressure here at camp with guys fighting for spots and learning new positions, but there's also been a lot of activities away from the field. Last night, the entire team attended casino night, and the other day, the Red Sox brought in motivational speaker and former Navy SEAL David Rutherford to talk to the team about coming together in a difficult environment. And the other night, Hanley Ramirez hosted poker night at his house, and as you guys mentioned, veterans kind of surprised that Mookie Betts had an entire team outing. And you guys, we're going to have some team bonding tonight at our NESN dinner, right, Jerry?
Absolutely, Garen. We're going out to dinner after the game tonight with some of our NESN sponsors, and we're all looking very much forward to that after we make about a 2.5-hour trip back to Fort Myers.
NESN Vice President, Charge of Production, Joseph Marr, was here for a couple of moments, and I think he was getting a little worried because we were asking, like, all the sides are separate. This is one of those good steakhouses, right? We got to be loading up on everything.
No, what's he's talking about his credit card? He's no good anymore. You better get it fixed.
I don't know. We didn't get enough details on that. All we heard is watch out. They're hacking credit cards. I'm a little concerned here. Varvaro coming in now for the Red Sox here in the 7th inning, and that's base hit for Ref Snyder to begin the inning. Little ground ball. He gets in there. Ref Snyder on first base. So we knew Ref Snyder was in there, but it looks like they've moved some guys around after moving them around. We'll do our best to keep you updated here.
That always makes it more pleasant.
It's nice to know who is fielding the ball. I've found in my limited play-by-play experience. Base hit to right field here. And so back-to-back singles, that is Ronald Torreyes with the base hit there. So Varvaro quickly giving up a couple of hits to start the inning. Red Sox making some changes as well, Jerry.
They are.
There's Sean Coyle on cue. Sean Coyle's over at third base. Marco Herrera? Wait, that's Marrero. Devin Marrero is still the shortstop. No change there. There's Marco Hernandez. He's your second baseman. And Sam Travis, not to be confused with Travis Shaw, is at first base.
I was curious how the Yankees were going to play this. They get a first and second situation with the top of the order up there right now, and looks like they were swinging away. I thought they may possibly try to bunt to get a couple men in scoring position. Still a close game late in the game.
Ryan Lamar is out in right field, by the way, and I wanted to make sure we brought him up quickly because I had one of the greatest hockey conversations I've ever had at spring training with Ryan Lamar before the game.
Really?
Grew up in Michigan, was an all-state high school hockey player, played baseball at the University of Michigan, but stays very close to college hockey. And wanted to know if his Wolverines had a chance to win the national championship this year. I called them in a game against BU earlier in the year, so we had a nice conversation about Michigan's hockey program and where they, I'm on the committee, Jerry. I don't know if you know that. I vote on the top 20 college hockey teams.
I did not know that.
Man,
yeah.
Very, huge responsibility that I have to deal with in the winter. And Michigan's been in my top 10 for a while, so Ryan was very happy to hear that.
And I'm sure by talking to him, they move up a couple of slots in your rankings.
He hasn't taken me out to dinner yet or anything, but there's a possibility over the next couple of weeks down here. Getting to tournament time, so I think they'll have to do it on the ice. Well, the scoreboard's saying that Ref Snyder is up now, but number 95 is at the plate. And that is Dustin Fowler, according to the notes we were provided. So I'm going with this being Fowler and Ref Snyder being at second base.
I think everything's messed up. The scoreboard reads no balls, no strikes, and no outs.
Yeah, we've had... what we have here is a failure to communicate, Jerry. Swing and a miss there as Fowler goes down and Varvaro gets the strikeout. His first strikeout of the inning in the game. Today's Red Sox spring training game on NESN being brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Brewers, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS to treat someone special to a game now.
Now check out the size of this fella coming up right now, Judge.
Yeah.
This guy is absolutely huge. And they told me, I was talking to Kenny Singleton, he said he saw him hit a home run in batting practice the other day that went over the scoreboard, the George Steinbrenner Field sign.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get a shot of the field out here, just how tall that scoreboard is in left center. But, yeah, he cleared that. And there's kind of a little pond out there, which they affectionately call Lake George. And he just, they were estimating, I think I heard 550-something is where it stopped. Strike there, both runners going, and they will advance uncontested.
Now that caught the Red Sox totally by surprise because you've got that power hitter at the plate, and you wouldn't expect the runners to be going, but they pull off the double steal.
Joe Girardi managing for the win here, Jerry.
Yeah, no sacrifice, but a stolen base, or a couple of stolen bases to put two men in a scoring position. Now the infield comes in for the Red Sox.
Pitch from Varvaro. Judge sends this one to right field. It is high. It is gone. A three-run home run for Aaron Judge. And the Yankees take a 6-1 lead here in the seventh.
Well, two of the rookies that they are highest on. We've seen them both go deep today. Mateo, who started the game at shortstop, and now Judge, who we just got finished talking about with his power. He takes a breaking ball to the opposite field, a hanging breaking ball, and just absolutely crushes it going the other way.
So that'll break it open here, and you talk about the power Judge able to show, and he shows it there as Nessie grounds to short for the second out of the inning. Santiago Nessie, the DH, taking over for A-Rod, but it's pretty impressive power right there to the opposite field.
Yeah, that is, and you know, when you see guys go deep to the opposite field like that, you know they're strong, and of course, all you got to do is look at the size of this guy, and you know he's strong.
Last year, he did struggle with that jump to AAA, which is why they're talking about, you know, you don't want to rush this guy. Let him build that confidence back as he adjusts to the AAA level. But he is not far away, Jerry. We talked about that farm system. It had been a while since you've seen guys like this coming through.
Yeah, it makes the system feel good, too. The Red Sox are feeling that, too, with the, you know, guys that they have had come through their minor league system and now producing at the big league level. And the Yankees are getting very, very close to having their draft picks become everyday players.
Ground ball to short. Marrero throws him out. So Varvaro gives up the three-run home run to big Aaron Judge, and the Yankees now with a 6-1 lead heading to the eighth. perch. This isn't a very camera-friendly perch. I got poles in front of me. You look great.
Oh, yeah. When you do games where you have these slide-up windows like this, you know it's not going to be a great shot from center field. But, hey, it's nice to work with you, TC. You know, I've done it in the past a couple of times through the playoffs in the studio, which is really not my cup of tea. No. You carry the show in there. But it's nice to have you in the booth today doing a game, and it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'll be doing a few here over spring training with Dave O'Brien, of course, still doing some college basketball games. Obi's such a great voice for college basketball as well as baseball. But this is all strange to me. Normally, I'm, putting away the food in the green room and getting ready for postgame.
I know, but, it's the good thing about this is when the game's over, you go.
I do like that.
We go.
Yeah. Yeah, you're usually home to watch like the last couple segments of the postgame show.
I do. You're not kidding. I do get to see some of it. You guys do a great job.
You do a great job getting out of the ballpark. Mark Montgomery is our new pitcher now for the New York Yankees. They've gone 1 inning apiece right down the line. And by and large, the pitching has been good today for the Yankees, Jerry.
Very good for the Yankees, and it's a lot of guys that are competing for spots, a very few spots on the roster for the Yankees, but it has been excellent. Been a very quiet day offensively for the Red Sox, only 3 hits in the game.
Bryce Brenn's up for the Red Sox as he has struck out each of his first 2 at-bats so far today. Brenn's, of course, trying to work his way back into the outfield mix for the Red Sox. Last year, broken thumb limited him to just 59 games with the Paw Sox. He'd been a September call-up in 2014, Jerry, but that broken thumb sent him back in last year with the injuries they had. Probably would have been a season where he would have gotten a chance to get some big league experience, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and that's the way things happen in baseball. I mean, you get some opportunities, and if you miss an opportunity, you never know what might happen after that. So Brent's now trying to work his way back to where he was a couple of years ago. We saw his great throwing arm in the game we had at Minnesota. Tremendous throwing arm from the outfield. Because today in that DH spot.
Swing and a miss, so third time today Brenz will strike out. First out here in the 8th inning. Enjoy the Fenway experience with your group in 2016. Red Sox group outings are the perfect way to entertain your clients and boost employee morale. Take your group event to the next level with a group party area. Visit redsox.com/groups for more information. And that outfield picture becoming more crowded with the Chris Young signing in the offseason, coming over from the Yankees last year. A lot of people were surprised that Young would come to a team that essentially had an established outfield. Rusney Castillo expected to be the left fielder, but Castillo still hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. And at the age of 29, you still don't really know what you have in Rusney Castillo. And John Farrell says Chris Young will be in the outfield against left-handed. He can hit left-handed pitching as well as anybody. And here, Brennan Bosch sends one up into the bleachers for a home run. So the Red Sox get one back as Brennan Bosch drives that Mark Montgomery pitch out of the park for the home run here in Tampa.
Have been a long time since the Red Sox have had a hit. You got to go back to the bottom of the 3rd inning when Leone had the double, and since then the Red Sox have been shut down. But Brennan Bosch picking up his first home run. Like something off speed that time that was tailing away from Bosch, and the balance was absolutely perfect for him. He's able to stay back on it, pull it, and drive it out of the ballpark for the home run.
Back to Chris Young in the outfield, Jerry. When I was down at the winter meetings this year in Nashville, talking to some other people with other teams, managers and scouts, a lot of people saying, you're going to see a lot of Chris Young this year. He's got a nice pull, right-handed swing for Fenway Park.
And a decent outfielder. We saw him with the Yankees a year ago, and it was a very good pickup for the Red Sox considering the uncertainty of some of their positions out there. I mean, yes, there's a lot of talent out there, but we don't know where that talent's going to go. And so you go on and you get a veteran guy like Chris Young. You can see how many games he's played in, 169 home runs. And last year, 14 with the New York Yankees. So, and as you mentioned, TC, quite clearly, he's very, very good against left-handed pitching.
It's kind of nice to see someone come the other way in the rivalry, isn't it? It seems like guys leave the Red Sox and go down to New York. It's nice to see someone leave the Yankees and come to Boston.
I think Young, when he looked at the situation, he probably felt like, because of the situation with Castillo, that he was going to get a lot of playing time. And there will be times when they'll sit Jackie Bradley down against some tough left-handed starters, and he'll get starts there. So he's going to get plenty of at-bats.
There's Dan Butler catching now. Came in relief of Sandy Leon. Returned to the Red Sox organization this past offseason as a minor league free agent. Made his major league debut in 2014. Last year, spent the season in AAA Syracuse as part of the Washington Nationals organization. Butler, 29 years old, a guy who has paid his dues and paid dues for a few other people along the way. 580 minor league games caught for Dan Butler, a guy who came back from Tommy John surgery. So as Christian Vazquez goes through this, Jerry, he's got someone to talk to at least about what that's like for a catcher.
I'm curious because Vazquez was supposed to catch Price in that simulated game back in Fort Myers today, and I'd like to know and find out how he made out in that game.
So a strikeout here, but the ball gets away, and Butler will get to first base and extend the inning with 2 down.
One of the most frustrating plays in baseball right there. You pick up a strikeout, but the ball gets by the catcher, and the runner advances to first base. And so the Red Sox getting a little something going here in the 8th inning. The home run followed by the strikeout, but the runner reaches first.
And that'll bring up Ryan Lamar for his first at-bat of the day. Ryan Lamar last season with the Cincinnati organization. For 4 straight years leading into last year as the 4th year, he was Baseball America's best defensive outfield prospect for that organization. Drives this one up high to left field, and that is gone! A 2-run home run for Ryan Lamar, and the Red Sox have scored 3 here in the 8th.
If I was Ryan Lamar, I would find you prior to every game and talk hockey, because it certainly paid off for him here this afternoon. Big home run right there for Lamar. He hits that a long way, launches it off the bottom of the scoreboard out in left field. Let's see what the pitch is. A pitch that just hangs right out over the plate, and you see that the weight balance going back, keeps the weight back, then it transfers to the front foot and out of the ballpark for the home run.
He shoots, he scores. They light the red lamp somewhere for Ryan Lamar. A 2-run home run. We were talking to him before the game about baseball, and he's talking about the last few camps with Cincinnati. He goes, the toughest thing when you're sort of on the edge of the major league picture is that every at-bat in spring training you're trying to show off. He goes, you're not necessarily working on the things you need to work on to help you better over the season, because you want to show them that.
Sure.
You want to make an impression every time you're at the plate.
Spring training means different things to different people. There are guys that can cruise through spring training and turn it on the last couple of weeks because they're on the ball club. They know their position. There are others that are trying to impress for the future. There are others who are trying to, survive in professional baseball.
And again, we talked about the crowded outfield picture here. It's going to take a lot for a guy like Lamar to crack that group, but it's a long season. Injuries happen,
as we well know.
So the 1-out homer from Brennan Brosh and the 2-run home run from Ryan Lamar, making this a 2-run game again here in the 8th. How important was that strikeout pass ball that allowed Butler to get the first and keep the inning going?
That should have been the end of the inning.
Can't give a team extra outs, Jerry. I've heard that over the years.
Not at this level, you can't. That's for sure, because these offenses can make you pay. I mean, you got 27 to give in a game, and you don't want to give him extra ones.
Sean Coyle, see his numbers last season in AAA. Ground ball to short. And that'll end the inning. For the Red Sox, put 3 on the board. 2 coming on the home run from Ryan Lamar. And we head to the bottom of the 8th with the Yankees leading the Sox 6-4. Yankees leading, coming up to bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Red Sox had trailed 6-1, but they got a few back there. Hair loss expert Dr. Robert Leonard has helped me and so many other men regain their youthful appearance. Don't procrastinate. Treat your thinning hair today with a complimentary consultation at Leonard Hair Transplant Associates. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR.
Get me some, TC.
Well, you know, now I don't have to wear a cap every morning. You know, I was one of those guys who always put the cap on first thing in the morning to go out and get the newspaper. And then just go out there, let the flow go in the wind. And a new pitcher for the Red Sox, Kyle Martin. Tall right-handed pitcher Kyle Martin, 6 foot 7 inches, 235 pounds. 25-year-old, 9th round pick of the White Sox out of Texas A&M. Red Sox got him. He used to pitch from a 3/4 arm slot, Jerry. Well, I'm sorry, he used to be from the sidearm, and the Red Sox got him up to the 3/4 arm slot, and all of a sudden his velocity is bumped up. A fastball that was struggling to crack 90 can now hit 94, 95. And it's funny how a little adjustment suddenly gave him a whole new outlook, pitching his way back into the picture.
Now, when you drop down to the side, you know, your velocity does have a tendency to drop off because you're throwing mostly sinking fastballs that are moving down and away from left-handed hitters or down and in the right-handed hitters. When you get on top, you know, obviously you can pick up some velocity from that arm slot. The big thing John Farrell's always talking about is repeating your delivery and you know, your arm slot being the same on every single pitch, and that's a major adjustment for any pitcher to make, to go from that location down sidearm to back on top.
You got a fastball. They like his circle change as well. That might have been the pitch right there. And they say it's really all about finding a third pitch if he's going to get to the next level. As a starting pitcher, he gets the strikeout there of Eddie Rodriguez. In 2016, every Tuesday is Take-Home Tuesday at Fenway Park. The first 15,000 fans in attendance receive one of this season's great giveaway items, like a David Ortiz 500 necklace, a Mookie Betts bobblehead, and even a pet Brock. For tickets and more info, visit redsox.com/promos. Jerry, I look forward to you wearing the David Ortiz 500 necklace.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like real David jewelry, you know?
If it is, the tickets will have to go up, I think, if you're going to do
way up, because he's got some bling.
But he carries it off, you know? I mean, a lot of guys...
No, you can pull it off.
You or I couldn't go out there with that kind of bling.
Look silly.
Looks natural on David. Jonathan Diaz comes up. 1 out here. Bottom of the 8th. Red Sox had a 1-0 lead. Trailed 6-1 before putting 3 on the board here in the top of the 8th. Final season for David Ortiz. Still seems strange, Jerry, to think that we'll be saying goodbye to him.
It does, and you know, as the season goes on, obviously it's going to become more and more apparent that the end is near, and we hope for his sake that he has a good year like he did a year ago, and he goes out with a playoff baseball, because that's where he really excels, and that would be a nice way to be able to go out, you know, get back into the playoffs, possibly the World Series, win one. Imagine being able to retire on that note. That would be very, very special. But you know, it's going to be, I think, a very difficult year for David, you know, handling all the media that's going to be he's having to deal with around the country. It's going to have to be well scripted by the Red Sox and well controlled by the Red Sox, so he's able to focus on baseball. And that has not been a problem here in spring training.
You know, you were there for the Yaz farewell tour.
Yes.
And I know Yaz was in camp earlier this week, even watching him. The one thing about that team, it didn't go to the playoffs. So Yaz got to say his goodbye. It's a little strange. If you do go to the playoffs, you never know when your last at-bat's going to happen.
That's true. That's why the last series is going to be so special. There's Yaz and sitting behind the batter's cage yesterday watching Ortiz hit. As a matter of fact, TC, I got the money shot yesterday because I had David and Yaz pose together.
See, I got to say, you're one of the only guys who could get Yaz to pose for anything, let alone with David Ortiz.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a nice chat with Carl, and he's doing very good. He's healthy. He's feeling very well, and we had a nice long talk. And then Big Poppy was in the cage, so after he took a round, I said, David, you mind coming over here and taking a picture? And I took a picture of both of them, tweeted out, and it was very popular.
And that's why you have over 500,000 followers, because you can get shots like that and put them on Twitter.
Well, I'm learning more about getting shots and incorporating the shots into the Twitter now. I didn't know how to do that for a long time, but I'm starting to learn how to do that.
You had people to do that before.
Yeah, I had people
now you
to
got to do it on your own.
But I would have missed.
There it is. I'm looking at it there. That's a great shot.
That's a very nice picture.
That is a great shot. That's what you do, Jerry. You bring people together.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, trying to think. There aren't many guys who could go up to Carl Yastrzemski and David Ortiz and say, could you guys pose for the shot?
I asked Yaz. I said, Yaz, because I know how Yaz is. I says, do you mind taking a picture with David for me? I said, I'd love the tweet. He says, of course. He says, I mean, yeah, a lot of people think Yaz is a tough guy to deal with. Not at all. Not at all.
I got to do the long interview. He sat down with me for a half hour a year or so ago, and he was fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, he just, what a baseball mind.
Yeah, he really does. And then, of course, David was in the cage, and I asked, once he was done hitting, I asked if he could come over, and of course, they totally enjoyed it. And I thought it was a terrific shot to get and tweet out because it's two of the all-time Red Sox greats.
Listen, I think every man, woman, and child in New England has a picture of David Ortiz, so I don't want to get too big ahead. You get David Ortiz to pose. That's not that hard. He's always ready for a picture.
Right.
Taking selfies with the president.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
running around taking pictures all the time. But that was a great shot. And what did we just see on that list there? Second and third all-time in home runs, right?
Yep.
For the Red Sox?
Yep.
But it will be interesting, and it begins in Cleveland, right? You open the season in Cleveland at Progressive Field. As the ground ball to short here, Taylor-made double play. They get it around in time, and that'll end the inning. We'll come back for the ninth inning, and the Red Sox down by 2, down to their last 3 outs.
You don't need a
Yankees leading 6-4 as we head to the 9th inning here at George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. Don't miss out on Big Papi's final season by enjoying a game at Fenway Park. Great tickets throughout the season still available. Get your tickets by visiting redsox.com/tickets or calling 877-RED SOX 9 today.
Now, here's a question I'm going to ask you, TC, and it's been asked to me a lot. What is this trip around baseball going to be like for David Ortiz? And my answer has been, I really don't know, because there's a lot of places that we go where they, haven't been big fans of David Ortiz because he's beat him so badly over the years. Yet there's other places where, there's been a tremendous amount of respect, like with the New York Yankees.
Right, the Yankees have already said, we will do something special for David Ortiz in his last game here. But here's the question I have. You open the season in Cleveland, and you don't go back to Cleveland.
Right.
So on April 7th, you're going to have a farewell goodbye party.
I guess. I don't know.
What are you going to do? Replay Game 7 of the 2007 ALCS? Thanks for the memories, David.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Like you said, not everyone's memories of David Ortiz over the years are as warm and fuzzy as they are in New England. In Detroit, what are they going to do? He single-handedly, with that grand slam, turned that ALCS around.
It's hard to figure what it's going to be like. I can tell you that the Yaz final game at Fenway Park was very, very emotional, for a lot of people.
Pop fly from Sam Travis, one down here in the 9th.
And especially for me, because I grew up, as a teenager watching that 67 club, and fortunately for me, I had a chance to play with Carl Yastrzemski, and toward the end of his career, and get to know him. So it was so emotional for me, to see him take that lap around the field, that final lap around Fenway Park, and it was like you were losing the organization. It was such a strange feeling. And it's going to be similar, I think, with David Ortiz.
Well, he's the last connection to that 2014, right? The championship that changed everything was that first one that ended the 86-year drought.
Right.
And he's the only one who's been here for all three. And did you know, Jerry, only one player in Red Sox history has won 4 World Series? Harry Hooper.
I did not know that.
In 1918. So you think about all the players who've worn the uniform, David Ortiz would be just the second player in history to win 4 World Series.
Yeah.
And he knows that. I brought it up, and he knew.
One thing that Yaz did was very nice. In his last weekend at home, he used a different bat every time he went to the plate, and he gave each one of us one of the bats that he used. And I still have that bat at home, and that was kind of a nice touch, and you don't have all the memorabilia that you have today back then. So to be able to have something like that, I thought was very special.
That is a nice touch. And it's great to see him down here at spring training every year. Great to see that he'll still come by the ballpark and see what's happening with this team. I don't think people realize how he sits at home and still watches these games.
Oh,
he knows exactly what's going on with this team.
Loves baseball. Still loves it. Still loves to sit down and watch it, and knows exactly what's going on with the players.
Marco Hernandez, foul ball over to the third base side and getting over there to make the catch is Diaz, Jonathan Diaz, number 78. This is Nick Goody on the mound, by the way, for the Yankees, the 9th pitcher of the day. The equivalent of being the number 9 hitter in the lineup. I guess it's a safe situation, right? So Goody on to try to close it out. He's got 2 quick outs. Cole Sturgeon up now for the Red Sox. He will try to keep this alive. See the numbers for Nick Goody. Got into 7 games last season with the Yankees. Couple of home runs in the 8th inning, made it a 2-run game here, but the Red Sox down to their final out here against the Yankees. 2-1 the count to Sturgeon. Sturgeon last year, 116 games between High A Salem, Double A Portland, at 245 combined. Takes ball 3.
This is a case here where you want to throw a fastball right down the middle and hope the hitter gets himself out. You don't want to walk the potential tying or bring up the tying run to the plate and make this guy swing the bat.
Does just that. He fouls it off.
Yeah, my position on that is when you're down by a couple of runs and the count's 3-1, I think you take 2 strikes. I really do. And try to draw a walk. Make him throw another pitch. Run that count to 3-2. That time he was swinging 3-1 and fouls it off.
2 down here in the 9th. 3-2 the count to Sturgeon. Goody delivers. Ground ball, first base. And now we'll end the game. The Yankees with a 6-4 win over the Red Sox in their first meeting of the spring. Red Sox fall to 2-2 on the Grapefruit League season. And the Red Sox now head back home tomorrow to face the Baltimore Orioles in Fort Myers, a game you'll see here on NESN. So the Red Sox come north to Tampa Bay, but they are beaten by the Yankees. They will play one another once again March 15th back at JetBlue Park. For Jerry Remy, Garen Austin, and all of us here at NESN, I'm Tom Garen. Final score for the final time, Yankees 6, Red Sox 4.